Hi everyone, welcome back to Sunshine Soap and Candle Company. Today I'm going to be sharing with you how to make a sea moss and charcoal infused cold process soap. I first shared this video and tutorial with you back in January of 2024 in a little 2-pound batch, and I also have shared this formula over on my Patreon campaign. And today I'm going to be making it again to place up on my website. Last time I made it, it was really popular, and for some reason it just went to the back burner and I haven't made it again. So I'm restocking it today in a bigger batch just to kind of gear up for the upcoming gifting season. So I thought I would bring you along for that process. If you are interested in this formula, you can still find it over on my Patreon campaign. I'll go ahead and pin it to the top of the feed, so if you're just joining, you won't have to search around for it, but it will be over there. It was available to everybody at just the $5 level. If you are new to my channel or you haven't yet had a chance to check out my campaign, I really hope you will. There's a ton to take advantage of over there. We've been posting weekly recipes and tutorials for 6 years now, and this is the perfect time of year because I have a lot of fall recipes all in the skincare, hair care, candle making, and soap making areas. And we have about 6 different tiers for you to take a look at and take advantage of, each with their own benefits. The most popular ones are the $5 and the $7 tiers, where you get access to all the formulas and tutorials. So I hope you'll head on over there and check it all out. All right, let's get started. All right, everybody, so this formula is made up of mango butter, olive oil, castor oil, coconut oil, shea butter, and sweet almond oil. It's an all-natural and palm-free formula because we're not using any synthetic colorant or fragrance. We're going to be using some essential oils. So this is a really beautiful formula, and it actually was very popular when I had it on my website the first time around. I just sold the amount that was in that little 2-pound batch, and that was probably, and I got lots of requests for it after I sold out of it. It was just a very small, like 7-bar batch, but it went really quickly. And part of the reason is because those bars are smaller in the 2-pound mold. They're slightly less ounces than the 5-pound. That the bars that I make in the 5-pound soap loaf are a little bit heavier and bigger than the 2-pound size-wise when you cut them. So I priced them a little bit cheaper, and being that they're all natural and palm-free, they just went really quickly. So I'm hoping these will also sell very quickly, but they have a beautiful natural color, and it creates a really nice, hard, stable bar soap with a gorgeous kind of lather and a gentle exfoliant due to the charcoal and sea moss powders that we're going to be using here. So it's just a really nice soap. So we're going to go ahead and pour my lye and water solution into my melted oils and butters. Now I'm making this soap at room temperature. I typically always make soap at room temperature. Sometimes I may get that question. I'm going to go ahead and slowly pour this in. So this upcoming January will be, I believe, let me think about this for a minute. This upcoming January will be the 11th anniversary of my first cold process soap. So I have been making cold process soap now for almost 11 years, which is just amazing if you think about it. I was thinking the other day, something came up, I don't remember, I was watching something or listening to a podcast or something where they were talking about having hobbies and doing things that you enjoy doing, and that it can mean so much more than you think it is. It's more than just doing something that you like. That actually reminded me of when I very first started making soap. I was already doing candles, had been doing candles for a long time at that point, probably about 10 years or so, and so a little longer than that. So when I got interested in making cold process soap, it was because I saw another maker's beautiful soap swirls at a Christmas market that I was vending at, selling candles, and I had never seen cold processed soap. I don't think I'd ever really seen it before. Or if I had, I didn't make that connection because this one was so beautiful. The swirls and such were so gorgeous. And I was like, how did you do that? What is this process? And so I became really, really interested in that process. And it became first just like a hobby that I really, really enjoyed doing. And thinking back on that time just brings me a lot of joy. Like learning new things and things that you like to do, as frustrating as cold processed soap can be, because it does have a pretty big learning curve. I was really highly motivated to learn how to do it because I thought it was such an interesting process. So anyway, that got me thinking about other hobbies and things in my life that I liked to do and still like to do, and what that has meant for me over the years. So I know a lot of you can probably relate to this, but I was working a full-time career as a teacher, as you guys know by now, and my kids were really small. And at one point, all three of my kids were ages 4 and under. So I had a 4-year-old, I had a 18-month-old, and a newborn at one point. And that was probably one of the most stressful times of my life that I can think back on. And then moving forward, lives, and a lot of things have happened over the years where having a hobby or something to take your mind off of it has really helped get me through a lot of things in life. And so it's good to have like a constructive hobby like soap making or anything else that you like to do. Painting, anything that helps relax you. Reading, any type of art, anything. There's so many different things you could become interested in, because I'm looking back on it, those are good, constructive ways to deal with stress. And so when I look back on that, I've always had a pretty good relationship with using my hobbies as an outlet, I guess. So let me know if you can relate to that. I'm sure lots of you can. It's just an interesting thing to look back on all these years later and think about all those hard times that, in particular, soap making has helped me just kind of get through it. That might sound kind of strange, but that's the only way I can describe it. And I know that there's more people out there. I can't be the only one that feels that way. Okay, so I've split off my batch into about 2 equal parts here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to place 2 heaping tablespoons here of, this is Irish moss powder. I got this from Star West Botanicals. I'm going to put that in 1/2 of my soap, 1/2 of the soap. So this is going to be kind of like 50-50 charcoal, 50% charcoal and 50% Irish sea moss. Now the charcoal, I'm using activated charcoal. You can get this anywhere. This one came from Brambleberry. It's a large bag and it can go airborne really easily. So activated charcoal is really good for your skin because it can help with detoxification. Charcoal is very well known for its detoxifying properties. So if you have acne prone skin, this is a great additive to put in your soap. It's also great just to help like detoxify not just your face, but your body as well. And then the sea moss is packed full of vitamins and minerals. So the combination of the two is a really good powerhouse duo. You can use this soap on your face and your body. So what I'm going to do now is just go ahead and pour in my essential oils before I get stirring. My essential oil blend here is eucalyptus, rosemary, and tea tree. Very invigorating. And all of those essential oils are great for like clarifying your skin, especially the tea tree and the rosemary are both very well known for acne-prone inflamed skin. So I'm just going to pour half of it into this batch, half of it into this portion. You can eyeball that part. I'm going to give this a little bit of a stir by hand before I use my stick blender. And the other thing I was reflecting on the other day, I'll try to put a little snippet of that video in here as well, but I was rewatching, something came up that made me rewatch a video. Maybe it was someone's comment or something from an older video that had me pulling it up and watching it. And it there are several videos of mine from back in like 2018-ish, wintertime of 2018-ish, where my dog, I have two golden retrievers. One is a blonde golden retriever named Roxy, and one is a red golden retriever named Ruby. And if you've been with me for a long time, then you probably remember seeing them in some of my older videos. And I have mentioned this before in one of my soap making videos, but Roxy is deathly scared of my soap cutter. I don't know what it is, and it took us a really long time to figure it out. We didn't know she was scared of it for a long time. It would just be whenever I would get the soap cutter out, she would run over to me and try to like jump up on me or jump up on the table, the surface that I was cutting soap on, and then her odd behavior would continue on, and you can see her in some of those past videos in the background, kind of running amok in the background of those videos. And it just made me laugh because at that time I didn't know she was scared of the soap cutter. We just thought she was like, I don't know, trying to get attention or something. And then later her fear became more pronounced to where I would get the soap cutter out and she would start like crying, whimpering and shaking and begging to go outside. And so we started to make that connection. Well, I was oblivious to it back then when she first started showing signs of being scared of it, and her behavior around it changed a little bit. She wasn't always like crying and scared. So I'll try to show you a little snippet here of an older video where she was, even when I went to go do my lather test that I do sometimes in my soap making videos, she was jumping in between me and the sink and trying to just like get up on me. So anyway, it's just funny that we didn't make that connection until later, but looking back on the videos, I was like, oh, that's because she was scared of the soap cutter. Like it's just such a funny thing. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and blend this up to a light trace. Let me know down in the comments below if you have any dogs that have irrational fears. Some of the things they get nervous about are so funny to me, and Ruby's just the opposite. So she gets scared of the funniest things, like just turning corners, and she's also scared of cords and wires. So stepping over a cord or a wire always makes her really nervous, but they're scared of different things. Ruby's not scared of the soap cutter. So it's just an interesting thing. So just blending this up to get all of the sea moss powdered chunks well dissolved, and bringing this to like a light medium trace. Okay, we're going to stop right there, and then moving over to the charcoal side. Now this side will accelerate quicker than this side because of the charcoal. Okay, I think we're going to go ahead and stop right there. It's important not to over blend this. It can get thick pretty quickly with this charcoal in here. It's a nice deep black color here. It's a really nice contrast with this tan. Okay, just giving this a nice stir by hand. And if you're into sea moss, I have an entire sea moss collection over on my Patreon campaign. I have a sea moss facial cream formula. I have several sea moss soap formulas over there. One where I use actual sea moss gel in the cold process soap and take you through the process of how to make your own sea moss gel. And then this one with the powdered sea moss. And then I have sea moss shower gels and body butters as well. So if you're into sea moss, there's a ton to check out over there. And your membership will gain you access to all of the formulas, not just this one. All right, so what I'm going to do is go ahead and pour in the entire sea moss portion first. So last week's video of the shave bar, I'm not sure by now if it was fixed or not, but last week I published a video on how to make a decadent, luxurious, solid shaving bar, and actually spent a really long time on that formula. And the video, I guess when it uploaded to YouTube, was corrupt somehow, and it stopped at the 7-minute mark, right around the 7-minute mark. And so by the time you see this video, either I was able to fix it and get it back up, or not. So this is just another example. I had to get on with this project here today and making this beautiful soap and filming. And so even though I was really upset about what had happened, just moving on to this project has actually put me in a very good mood. So that's just, I guess, what I was talking about earlier in the video. You just have these things where if you can get some healthy outlets in your life, it's very, very helpful in dealing with stress. And I hope I was able to get that video back up. But if not, I will have to share that solid shaving cream tutorial on another time, because I have a whole calendar of stuff coming out that I will now be behind on if I have to go back and take a look at that or redo that one. But let me know if this video, if the solid shaving cream video did not come back up, if that's something that you would be interested in seeing. So I'm just gonna go ahead and I could always retake the video. So just let me know if that's something that you want to see in the future. I have lots of things coming up. So lots of things that you guys have been requesting. So I am working on, behind the scenes, I have been working really hard on a no rinse mop solution, a leave-in hair conditioner, and a scented body powder. Now I know you guys have been super interested in those topics because I've gotten lots of requests. So those are some of the things I'm working on that I hope to share soon with you all. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and get my chopstick, and I'm going to give this a swirl like this. So the texture of this soap is perfect for this type of design that I'm doing, because it means we're going to get some nice swirling inside as well. And it will be, 50-50, so you'll see both colors pretty equally. I just think it's so pretty, gorgeous. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is grab I have some botanicals I like to top this soap with. So I'm going to use a little bit of dried chamomile flowers. I might actually change the botanical this time around. I might want to give this a little bit more of a pop of color on top. I'll be right back. All right, so I've decided to go with these dried red rose petals. I think that'll be a very nice contrast with the colors that we already have going on. This obviously doesn't have a floral smell at all because it smells like essential oils of tea tree eucalyptus and rosemary, but this is strictly for the color. So we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put these right down the middle. I absolutely love the dried botanicals from Brambleberry for soap making, and also mountain rose herbs. It's really good quality. They always come in a great color, intact. Sometimes you order botanicals from places and you get a lot of that like botanical dust at the bottom and broken pieces, broken like flower petals and herbs that, I mean, are fine to use, but they look better on soap when they're intact like this. So those are my two favorite for botanicals, mountain rose herbs and brambleberry. Just a little across the top. Now I'm going to be building my website, or I should say beefing up the website with more cold processed soap as we get closer to the holiday season. So typically what I do is I make a bunch of different 5-pound soap batches instead of multiple of the same. I find it easier to sell if I have just small quantities but lots of choices. So that way I have a lot of things to purchase, but also I'm not left over with, you know, a bunch of extra soap if I've made too much of one type. And you can always make more. It's not a bad thing to sell out. So if you have one that's doing well, you can always make more of it. So that's kind of been my strategy. I'd love to know what your strategies are. All right, in the comments below, let me know what you do. Do you make a lot of the same kind of soap, or do you do small batches and lots of options? Last thing we're gonna do is go ahead and spray this 99% rubbing alcohol on the top to prevent soda ash, which actually can sometimes happen with, I think it's eucalyptus or tea tree essential oil for me in the past, so this is good. A good thing to do is just spray this on top, and actually it's kind of helping to seal those botanicals down to the soap as well. All right, and there it is, everybody. Beautiful sea moss and charcoal cold processed soap. Stay tuned for the cutting. All right, so it has been about 24 hours now, and this beautiful soap is ready to cut. I just wanted to show you what it looked like before we cut it here. I always like to see the whole loaf. It's always neat to see what kind of patterns you can see before you cut it open. And then this side is mostly tan. And I love how the Irish sea moss cures out to this beautiful kind of creamy tan color. So I love it. So we're gonna go ahead and give this a cut. Now I'm using my multi-bar cutter here, and I'm really kind of in need of a new one. We've already repaired this piece that broke off. So I'm just gonna go ahead and use it, but it's sort of tilting to one side now because it gets tighter, which can sometimes then dig into my soap the wrong way. So hopefully we won't have any issues because this is a regular height loaf of soap. And yeah, so I'm actually in need of a lot of new things that need replacing. Like I'm probably due for a new computer and a new camera and a new soap cutter. So it always seems to happen at the same time. So because this has botanicals on it, we're going to go ahead and cut it this way where the botanicals are facing me and not from the top down, because we don't want to leave gouge marks in the soap, which can happen if you cut soap with botanicals in it. See, now this is going to go right into my soap. So I'm actually going to need to get my, yeah, this piece is going to go right into my soap because it's starting to break again. So I need to get my single bar cutter. All right, so again, just flipping the botanicals this way so I don't drag them down the loaf. And there's the first bar, looking so beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. Nice and smooth bar of soap. So pretty. There's the top. Now these are a little bit chunkier than my normal bar by maybe 1/4 of an inch, so I'm going to push this in just a little bit. There we go. That's better. More like it. Oh, look at that one. Loving the swirl on that one. So gorgeous. All right, I'll cut one more for you. Beautiful. All right, everyone. That is how you make a beautiful sea moss and charcoal infused soap. If you like this video, please remember to give it a thumbs up. Please leave me some comments and questions down below. That really means a lot to me. Share this video with a friend, and why not subscribe to my channel? All right, everyone. Catch you on the next video. Bye. Keep shining.